When you think about going through a trial, what do you think of? What is it that your mind associates with going through something called a trial? See, when I think about a trial, I lean on my background and being a science teacher, in that a trial is just a repetition. It is, we're going to take something and we're going to put it into a test. And we're going to see how it reacts or what happens during this test. But we call them trial runs. We want to see how this works with water. We want to see how it works without water. We want to see how it works in the sunlight. We want to see how it works in the dark. See, when I think about a trial, that's what I think of. The idea that we are going through different situations and we're going to see what happens on the other side. See, well, in that thought, I understand James in James 1 to be talking about different situations of our lives. Not so much that all this hard time is coming upon us, but really it's different situations. See, James writes in James 1 and verse 2, "My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given him." See, the idea when in this life, we are going to have different situations that are going to occur to us. We're going to find ourselves in different situations. Right now, the very reason that I am videoing this devotion tonight is because we are going through a very difficult time. And when I say we, it's not just myself and my family. It's the congregation, it's the county, it's the state, it's the world. So when we think about this particular time as being a very trying time, it's a very trying time for everyone on various levels. Some of us have been sick. Some of us are afraid of getting sick. Some of us has lost loved ones. Some of us are unable to just carry on what we consider normal lives. And so it's a very trying time for all of us. But even outside of that, there are other things that we are going through. And as life progresses, if the Lord grants us more time on this earth, we're only going to have more situations. They could be very happy situations. They could be very sad situations. But then we're going to have different situations where our faith is tested. See, when we start thinking about faith, our faith is not only what we believe or the system of beliefs that we hold dear or understand. In this case, the Bible teaches. But our faith is a drawing near and relying on God. Know that He hears us and know that things are going to be all right no matter what happens to us. It depicts the lifestyle that we live. Why is it that I tell the truth? Well, it's the right thing to do. I mean, obviously. Telling the truth is always upheld. Telling lies are generally most often seen as a negative thing. And that would be people who are not Christians. Telling the truth is the right thing to do. But why is it that I would travel to a building with nobody in it and video a lesson, a devotion, so other people can see it? Because we have to get the word out. Tonight, normally we would have a session where we come together and we would have a devotion time and we would have a Bible study. And so in place of, or in another way to put it, to help facilitate home Bible study, that I'm able to video record, and later I'll upload and we'll be able to see this. But when we start looking at these verses, notice the testing of our faith produces patience. And we start thinking about living our life in faith. It's not just in the bad times, but also in the good times. When life is good, are we giving God thanks? Are we grateful? Are we helping others? Are we as James later will describe it in James 3, that are we helping with our goods? Are we looking after and taking care of the needs of others when life is good? But then we have times when life is hard and it's not so good. Are we still living that life that God would have us to live? Are we still devoting ourselves to honoring God? Are we still praying those prayers, and not just for our wants and our wishes, but also of thanksgiving, also of counting our blessings and thanking God that He does look over us, even though times are very hard and difficult. We have a God that loves and cares about us. Are we putting our faith into action? See, the testing of our faith produces patience or perseverance. And the idea with patience or perseverance is that we keep going. And what we may use in our common vernacular is this: it's going power or it's staying power. We're going to keep on doing what we do because that's who we are and that's what we do. See, when we hold true to our faith in the good times and not so good times, when times are kind of rocky and kind of hard for us to handle, if we hold to our faith, it gives us more staying power, more going power, more continuing power. So the testing of our faith gives us this perseverance or this patience. Now notice, let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. The word for complete or perfect means to be mature. And the idea is that we are growing in our faith. The idea is that we are not just babes in Christ, but we are growing individuals in Christ. One that we can go out and spread the good news to others, that we can help those who are struggling. Now, if we don't know exactly how to navigate these waters, I've never been in a pandemic like this before. There are other things that have happened in my lifetime that has caused concerns. West Nile virus is one, Y2K is another. There are things that has happened, Ebola that has happened that would scare us, but this is a little different. Everything is shutting down. People are not being able to work. There's lots of fear right now. How is it that I ought to conduct myself in this time? Because it's different. I've not quite had anything like this. And notice James says in verse 5, if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach. If you want to know how to keep going, pray to God about it. Search His Word for it. Look for what the Word says. Look for actions the Word says. Look for God's guidance through the words and through the words of other people, the godly men and women in our lives. Ask them, how do we continue on? And they'll point you back here. See, if you need wisdom, ask it, and He will give it. Now notice, He said, count it joy. Count it joy. Now, there's lots of things that are going on that we should not or are not necessarily joyous about. Should not be joyous because there's a lot of hurting going on. They should not be joyous because there's a lot of pain and sorrow at this time. And I don't believe this is the impact or the end result that James is describing. See, what James is describing is an end result. An end result of going through very trying and hard times. When we go through these trying, hard times, then it produces that staying power, that patience. See, that's what we're looking for. We're looking to hold on to our faith throughout these hard times. And when the times are good, because this is just a season. And one day, if the Lord wills, it will get better. But we still have to remain faithful. We have to keep on being faithful. We got to keep praying. We got to keep asking for wisdom. We got to keep going and doing the things that God would have us to do. We can do good things. When we start thinking about the trying times we're going through, Let's not always focus on the negative things. Certainly they're there. Certainly they are there. But let's also look for the good. When this is over, our faith ought to be strengthened. The faith of those who hear us ought to be strengthened because God was faithful and He kept His promise. This afternoon, what is your life like? Is it one that puts God first and honors Him? Or is it one that I kind of know who God is, but I don't really? Or I kind of follow God, but not really? Why not start following Him today? If I can help you in any way in this journey of life, to help you follow after God and His teachings more, I'm willing to answer questions. Just reach out. Have a blessed night.